So let's recite the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Giram Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka Day. So today's Shloka is Shloka number 5 of chapter 6. Uddharetatmanatmanam Natmanam avasadayet Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu Atmaiva ripuratmanah Uddharetatmanatmanam Natmanam avasadayet Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu Atmaiva ripuratmanah Uddharedatmanatmanam Natmanam avasadayet Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu Atmaiva ripuratmanah. Please recite after me. Uddharedatmanatmanam Natmanam avasadayet Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu Atmaiva ripuratmanah Uddharedatmanatmanam Natmanam avasadayet Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu Atmaiva ripuratmanah Uddharetatmanatmanam Natmanam avasadayet Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu Atmaiva ripuratmanah Word for word meaning. And translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Uddharet, one must deliver. Atmana, by the mind. Atmanam, the conditioned soul. Na, never. Atmanam, the conditioned soul. Avasadayet, put into degradation. Atma, mind. Eva, certainly. He, indeed. Atmanaha, of the conditioned soul. Bandhu, friend. Atma, mind. Eva, certainly. Ripuhu, enemy. Atmanaha, of the conditioned soul. Translation. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So as we were reciting the shloka and we were going through the word-to-word meaning, you can see the word Atmana used multiple times. And that same word is translated as the mind, and that same word is also translated as the conditioned soul. Sripadadi Shankaracharya translates the word Atma in 4 different ways. It doesn't indicate 4 different things, it's just 4 levels of the mind. So that you could say the mind has 4 levels. So one definition of the word Atma is the mind. Another definition of the word Atma is actually buddhi or intellect. Another definition that Sripad Shankaracharya gives of the word Atma is chitta. Chitta means your attachment to things. Your mind, your intellect gets attached to things. And then finally, Atma is also defined as ahankara. Ahankara meaning the false ego. So that there are 4 levels of this Atma. You have the mind, you have the intellect, you have the chitta, and then you have the ahankara. So the Lord is stating here that if a jivatma is able to control his mind through his intellect, then he will not degrade himself. However, if the mind is not under one's control, then it can become your greatest enemy. So we have the choice of whether to make our mind our friend or our enemy. Now we say we have the choice, but mind is such a difficult thing to manage. We all know that. You know, we may make a good, we may take a sankalpa and say, okay, for 30 days straight, I will wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning. But the next day comes of the sankalpa and your mind is telling you that's okay, you know, relax. The world is not going to come to an end if you don't wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning. Nothing is going to happen to you if you don't wake up at 4 in the morning. So like this, the mind will trick you into not doing things. So ultimately, In the class yesterday that we were talking about in the Secrets of Gita Revealed, the mind is compared to a child. A child has to be controlled. And this mind can only be controlled through the intellect or through the intelligence. So unless the intelligence is being fed with the right information, it's very hard for the intelligence to try and control the mind. So the senses are actually compared to children. The mind is actually compared to being a chaste wife. So both the mind and the senses can only be controlled if the intelligence is immersed in information that makes it easier for it to control the mind and senses. So it's up to us to stay in touch with scriptures on a daily basis to help it influence the mind. Even after reading scriptures, it can be difficult to control the mind. So besides reading, then really the rest of your sadhana comes into the picture. How much seva you're doing, how much association you're taking of other devotees, how frequently are you hearing from self-realized souls on topics of the scriptures. So Krishna is saying that it is up to us to deliver ourselves, but to do that, we need the help of the mind. If we don't do that, Krishna says, then we are living in a degraded condition. So Krishna is seated within us as Paramatma, always guiding us as to what is right and wrong. But Krishna also, in every single age, in every single millennium, in every single yuga, he has always sent his authorized representatives. So it's quite possible that most of us may have come in touch, in contact with many sages, with many self-realized souls in our previous births. We may not have taken advantage of that association, but perhaps in this life, we've been given an opportunity to recognize that something has to change in our life. And therefore, we have taken to this path of spirituality. So the sages have always been there. They've always been accessible to us. But the choice was us in terms of whether we are ready or not. So it just so happened that yesterday, or rather a few days ago, I had messaged one devotee who has not come for class in a very long time, just to greet her for her birthday. And I mentioned that we've not seen you in class for a long time. So she responded saying, I am not inclined to take this up at this time. I am not inspired to take up to spirituality at this time. So even though intellectually one may understand that this path is going to benefit you, at the end of the day, if you're not inspired, you're not inspired. So we must take full advantage of the fact that Prabhupada has established this most beautiful, well-designed institution with well-designed, thought-through programs so that we can take full advantage of it. And as Krishna says, it's our responsibility to deliver ourselves. We have to take that first step, and then along the way come many, many devotees and the Lord himself to assist you to speed up the process of God realization. Our ultimate objective is God realization. But if the mind doesn't cooperate with you, how will you get God realization? So in the following shlokas, the Lord is going to talk about the importance of controlling the mind. That's the essence of today's shloka.